Live from New York, this is WIUR Radio.
What's going on, everyone? This is Eric Mincin here with the Mincin Show, Ep.1. Podcast surrounded all around the Mets, the New York Metropolitans. There's a lot to talk about with the Mets. A lot of moves have been made for this organization within the past 3 months after the season ended. So we're going to start off with a recap of the Mets offseason so far. A lot needs to be still done, I think, with this team. Rotation-wise, the bullpen's pretty much set, but the rotation still is in trouble, and the lineup, I think we need another bat. But so far, a recap, we have no Pete Alonso, so 40 home runs, 100 RBIs guaranteed is gone. Nimmo is gone, so the so-called captain for some is gone. We don't have a closer in Edwin Diaz, so no more trumpets for the foreseeable future, probably ever again. And the flying squirrel is thankfully gone. That's about the one move that every Mets fan can get behind. Starting off with Brandon Nimmo, that was the first move done for the Mets offseason, the first big piece that was moved. It was a move that needed to be done. I mean, he's getting old. He can't run. He couldn't throw anymore. He never could, but he definitely couldn't run anymore. And that was, especially for a left fielder, that was very important for the Mets defense-wise as well. It was a move that needed to be done. And, this whole offseason, I think it was like the day after the season ended, David Stearns came out and said, hey, we got to focus on defense. It's going to be a defensive-oriented team. And that's exactly what he did with his first offseason move. He got Marcus Semien in a trade for Brandon Nimmo. It was a trade straight up for defense. You're losing some offense in Nimmo. It was like 28 home runs or something like that, 25 home runs maybe, 90 RBIs. But it was important to move Nimmo. His on-base percentage was slipping. He was an on-base machine to start his career, always walking. And now the strikeouts are coming up. The walk rate is going down. The on-base percentage is going down. The average is going down. Everything's going down while the home runs and RBIs are going up. And that's not really what Nimmo was. He wasn't a home run hitter. He wasn't an RBI drive-in runs type of guy. But you know what? When Mendoza, or I believe it was under Showalter, when Showalter moved Lindor up to the number 1 spot, it might have been Mendoza, though. I'm not sure. But when Lindor got into the number 1 spot, Nimmo kind of fell out of order. He was a number 1 hitter. I think he'll probably be the number 1 hitter on the Rangers. He was a good number 1 guy, always on base, always drawing the leadoff walk to start the game. Whereas Lindor just sort of thrived in that number 1 spot for a longer period of time. He wasn't always on base to start off the game like Nimmo was, but over the course of the year, his numbers were tremendous in the leadoff role. And Nimmo sort of said to himself probably, you know what, if I'm not going to be a leadoff guy, I might as well be a power hitter. And that's where we started seeing some of the power come in. He hit behind Alonso, especially with Soto. Especially, we'll talk about last year mostly, especially behind Soto. Lindor, Soto, Alonso, Nimmo. That was a great 1, 2, 3, 4. They called them the Fab Four, and it was a good, it was a good top 4 of a lineup. But unfortunately, after that, the lineup was done. You had Beatty after, you had Vientos, McNeil. I mean, come on, it was a joke. But moving Nimmo was necessary in this offseason. It was absolutely number 1 thing you needed to do. And, I wasn't really expecting a return of Marcus Simeon. I really was not. Um, his offense is not what it used to be. He was an MVP caliber season um, a couple years ago, 2023, I want to say, 22. Um, and where he hit 40 plus home runs, 100 plus RBIs. I mean, he was a power hitter for that one year and then started to dip, but his defense is elite. It's still elite. So that up the middle is elite with Lindor and Simeon now. So the infield, and we'll get into Bo Bichette, the signing of Bo Bichette a little later, but the up the middle is elite. So that was a move that I loved right away. Loved it. I mean, you could have traded him. You could have traded Nimmo for a bag of balls, and I think I would have been happy with it. Nimmo needed to go. The second thing that happened, which hurt, I think, the most for this Mets team, was the loss of Edwin Diaz. Losing Diaz in that closer spot is heartbreaking. He was solid. He always gave you a heart attack in the ninth inning, but he was shut down for the rest of the inning. It would be bases loaded, no outs, 3-2 count on every hitter, and he'd somehow get out of it. And, 30 plus saves, maybe 40 plus saves a year from Diaz is lost. And I think when the Mets signed Devin Williams, that happened a couple days before they lost Diaz, I thought to myself, man, we lost Diaz. The second that they signed Devin Williams, I thought to myself, damn it. There's no shot they're going to sign Diaz now. I thought maybe there was still a chance. I still had faith in Stearns to complete that deal. But when they lost, or when they signed Williams, it was a lost hope, and they gave him less money than Diaz, but pretty much the same contract, 3 years, $55 million, I believe it was. They offered Diaz 3 years, 66. I mean, only 11 million off. And what sucks most about Diaz is they wanted Diaz back, and they messed it up with Diaz. But I think that he was gone no matter what. And there were reports saying that after the Mets fired Hefner, Diaz really didn't see a future with the Mets. And I think that's BS. I don't think that's real at all. I think Diaz just played the Mets, to be honest with you, and went to the Dodgers. He went to the easier team to win with. If you can't beat them, join them. And I think that's exactly what happened. I mean, he only signed with the Dodgers for $3 million extra. Not much the Mets can do there. But, there was a report also that same day that Diaz signed with the Dodgers saying that he didn't give the Mets a second chance. It was more of a, here, Dodgers, this is what the Mets are offering, match it, or add an extra $1 million, and I'm signing with you no matter what. I think that's ultimately what happened. And we lost out on an elite closer because of it. So moving on to now to stay with the bullpen, actually, Stearns did fix this bullpen. I think he's made it a lot better than last year. Adding Weaver, adding Williams. I think Williams is going to be just fine in that closer role. To finish the 2025 season with the Yankees, he had a good stretch. Still a 4.5 ERA, I believe he had, or a high 4 ERA, but that's because he stunk for the first half, but brought it down dramatically in that second half. So I think he'll be okay. He's not going to be Brewers Devin Williams, I don't think, and he's not going to match Edwin Diaz's closer role, but I think he'll be solid. And you have Weaver in that 8th inning role, setup guy. I think that's also going to be good. They signed Luis Garcia, which, veteran presence in that bullpen as well. So the bullpen is bolstered up. It's a lot better. I feel a lot better. AJ Minter's back. Brooks Raley's good. He's back. So the bullpen, I think, will be fine. And the bullpen's easy to fix throughout the year anyway. So the bullpen's not really a big issue in an offseason. So losing Diaz wasn't the end of the world. It sucks, but it's not the end of the world. The one big issue I had with this offseason was the Mets letting go Pete Alonso. and they didn't even try to get him back. There was no hope for Pete Alonso and the New York Mets reunion. No hope. I mean, the Mets gave. I mean, why couldn't the Mets give Pete Alonso Bo Bichette's contract? I know that Pete Alonso maybe wanted the years, but at that point, you might as well just give him the extra 2 years, or give him opt outs after those last 2 years, or give him an opt out after every year, but match the money that the Baltimore Orioles gave him. 5 years, $155 million. That's not doable. Come on, he's a homegrown guy, home run king, National League or rookie home run leader with 52, beating out Judge in 2019. I mean, I'm over it. I was okay with leaving Alonso on the table and letting him walk. However, it sucks. It does suck losing out on a lot of that power. And, you can say, and I've said it too, that the Mets replaced that power with 4 players. But, what about, someone else brought up a point that I was talking to recently. What about Nimmo's power? 28 home runs, almost 30 home runs that he hits a year. What about that power? And I said, well, you got me there. I mean, you only really replaced Alonso's power with Bo Bichette, who hits 20 home runs a year, with Luis Robert Jr., who hits 20 home runs a year, but plays 100 games. The biggest loss for losing Alonso was that he played 162 games every year. The guy isn't hurt at all, ever. And that's the biggest loss. You could say his defense is bad. I don't think he's that bad of a first baseman. I really don't. Do I trust him? Do I think he'll do a Lucas Duda in Game 7 of the World Series against the Yankees? Yeah, I do think so. But you know what? Jorge Polanco might do it. Brett Beatty might do it. Mark Vientos might do it. And we'll get to that later in the show, as the Mets still don't have first baseman. They responded by losing Alonso to signing Jorge Polanco, who's not a first baseman, to possibly making Brett Beatty a first baseman, who's not a first baseman, to possibly making Mark Vientos a first baseman, who's barely a Major League Baseball player. And I think they messed up big time letting Alonso walk, especially after losing Kyle Schwarber to the Phillies. I thought maybe they would get Schwarber. He'll be your first baseman / DH. They missed out on him immediately into the offseason. Immediately. Phillies signed him up 5 years, $150 million, I think it was. So the Mets don't have a first baseman. So that worries me. I think Jorge Polanco is going to be good. I don't think he's going to be Pete Alonso, offensively. I think the good thing about these players that the Mets got in Simeon, in Polanco, in Bichette, in Robert, is they are slappy baseball players. It kind of reminds me, it's going to remind me of the 2022 Mets, where they didn't kill you with power. They killed you by on-base percentage. The Mark Cannas, the Eduardo Escobars. They killed you on base percentage, drawing walks, long at-bats, just slapping the ball up the middle. That's what this team reminds me of right now. Not power. Defense is solid, elite defense up the middle and in the infield with Bichette. I think Bichette will be fine at third, and we'll get to him later. I think Bichette will be fine at third. If David Wright said recently, if he could do it, anyone can do it. So I think the infield's going to be fine. First base is questionable, but I think it's going to be okay. So that's the team so far. I mean, I would grade this team right now. 3 weeks ago, I'd give this offseason an F. I would have given this offseason an F. And I trusted Stearns 100% of the way. When we traded Nimmo, I said, good. That's a, ballsy move. I loved the move. He's breaking up the core. When we lost Diaz, I said, oof, yikes. That's gonna be tough to overcome. And there's no defense for that. That was just an honest mistake by Stearns and the Mets organization letting Diaz walk. I don't think they let him walk. I think they just screwed up the negotiation process. However, like I said before, I don't think there was a chance Diaz was coming back as soon as the Dodgers offered him money. He said, if the Dodgers want me, I'm going to the Dodgers. So you can't blame Stearns with that. And then they let Alonso walk, and you're like, oh man, dude, we don't have a team. The team's gone. The lineup, the Fab Four, there's only two players left. Paul and Ringo are, that's it. George and John are gone. So this team right now, as it stands, is looking a lot better than it did just 2 weeks ago. And all these moves, Bichette, Robert, not Williams, but Bichette, Robert, and Luis Garcia, a good veteran presence in that bullpen. Stearns made the team look respectable now. Again, you got to get over the fact that Alonso's gone. You have to. There's no, what are you going to cry about? He's going to beat the Yankees up. At least he went to the Orioles. I'm glad he went to the Orioles. If he went to the Dodgers, I probably would have stopped watching baseball, to be honest with you, like Kyle Tucker. Don't get me started on him. But if Alonso went anywhere else, not the AL East, at least he can beat up on the Yankees, and I'm okay with that. As long as the Yankees win or lose, I'm okay. But back to my point of Stearns making this team look more respectable. It's way more respectable, this team. Bichette's fun to watch, dude. He's fun to watch offensively and defensively. Luis Robert, defensively, he's elite. He's an elite center fielder. And we finally have a center fielder to be happy about. You know, he's not here for a long time. I think he's only here for 2 or 3 years. But we finally have our center fielder to look forward to. We don't have our Jeff McNeil in center field. We don't have Tyrone Taylor in center field, although he'll play there some days. But he's not going to be starting opening day at center field. I mean, could you imagine an outfield going into opening day of Brett Beatty in left, Jeff McNeil in center, and Juan Soto in right? That team's winning 68 games. I mean, that would have been a terrible, terrible, terrible opening day roster if they didn't sign or if they didn't trade for Robert. Honestly, they also need a left fielder, and I'll get into the moves of what they need soon because they still have work to be done, a lot of work. And I think, to be honest with you, I think the team is complete. I think Stearns is happy with what he's done. Maybe they had another starter. But I think this is the lineup. I think they're going to turn Beatty into the McNeil, just a younger McNeil. So the team has a lot of work to be done. But before I get to that, I want to grade the offseason. 2-3 weeks ago, I would have given an F. Now I give it a B+. Maybe an A-. But if they do, one move that they would need to do to make it an A- would be adding a big bat, a big power bat. I don't know where you're going to get that from. I don't know if you trade for Stephen Kwan of the Guardians, and I don't think they're going to do that. I think Stephen Kwan fits the Yankees way more than he fits the Mets. And I'll get into the Yankees a little bit later because they're a disaster. But the Mets need a left fielder, so that's why I'm going to give it a B+ offseason so far for Stearns. They need a left fielder. They need another bat. I'm not going to say they need a first baseman because first baseman's Jorge Polanco. So I would have loved a real first baseman, but, you know, Jorge Polanco will do, I guess. He's no Pete Alonso, and we're not expecting much from him. So for my second topic, I want to talk about Bo Bichette now and the signing of Bo Bichette. So it's basically a 1-year deal, kind of not really a prove-it year for Bichette since he's Bo Bichette. I mean, he's really good. He's really good. Defensively, offensively, he's really good. He'll give you 20 home runs, 320 average. You know, that's your average hitter right there. But how's he going to do at third? And I kind of poked at it earlier. I think he's going to be fine. I mean, I played third base. I was fine in Little League. I did fine. You know, David Wright did fine. You know, Brett Beatty's good at third. I mean, anyone can play third base if they play in the infield. You know, Bichette played at second in the playoffs and he did fine. You know, it's not like you're moving Bichette to like catcher. I mean, that would be ridiculous. He's moving to another infield position that's not first. I would be questionable if he can play first with the footwork and the picking, but if he's just moving from shortstop to third, I mean, that's basically the same position. It's the hot corner, but it's basically the same thing. And that brings me to my point now. Where's Brett Beatty playing? Well, Brett Beatty, like I mentioned before, will be the new McNeil. And now what's the bench looking like? McNeil's gone. Luis Angel Acuna's gone for Robert. And I'm happy about that trade. I'm very happy that they got Robert. I wasn't really set on him a couple weeks ago before they got him. I was like, will it work out? I don't think so. But you know what? He's better than what we had before. We didn't have the center fielder before. Now we have our center fielder, so I'm happy that we finally have a center fielder. I'm very happy about that. He's going to play 60 games less than Alonso. He's going to play 100 games, 110 games. Hopefully he is healthy and plays 140, 150. Minimum, he's got to play 130. Minimum. But we finally have our center fielder, so that's nothing to worry about anymore with the center field. Right field set for 15 years or 14 years now. So Brett Beatty will be the new McNeil. He'll play first. He'll play second. He'll play third. He'll play left. He'll DH. And I'm okay with that. I think I'd rather have Beatty over Vientos for sure. Beatty defensively is way better than Vientos. I mean, Vientos is garbage. Vientos is garbage. He's garbage. One good year, and everyone said, oh, he's the, top. He's on top of the world. He's the best player the Mets have. Give me a break, dude. Give me a break. Sure, Game 4 of the NLDS in 2024, I think it was Game 4, he hit that ninth inning home run to tie the game. That was huge. He had huge moments in 2024, massive moments. He stinks. He stinks. He can't play third base, and he can't hit. So how the hell do you want Mark Vientos to be your everyday DH? How do you expect that to happen? He can't hit anything. He's not good, Mark Vientos. Yeah, you got to trade Mark Vientos. I'll take a AAA pitcher for Mark Vientos. I'll take anything for Mark Vientos. Similar to McNeil. I don't even know what the return was for McNeil. It could have been cash considerations. It very well could have been cash considerations for Jeff McNeil. What worth does he have? Mark Vientos, maybe he has value still. He's young. He's like 25 or 26. He shows that he can possibly do it in 2024. He had a monster 2024. So he has shown that he can do it. But I don't think he can on this current team. I don't think he can. He doesn't have a spot. Brett Beatty took his job multiple times. I mean, the back and forth of Brett Beatty and Mark Vientos, I'm sick of seeing them both fight over a position. Brett Beatty goes into a slump for a month. Vientos comes up. He's good for a month. Then he slumps, and then Brett Beatty's back. I'm sick of it. So trade one of them. Mark Vientos, it would be my choice to trade, though. He's got a lot of value, man. He's got a lot of value. Young, like I said before, but he can't play defense. Can't play defense. And that's where Brett Beatty beats him in defense. That's why Stearns, I think, is leaning more towards Brett Beatty being that third base / first base / left field. And I think Brett Beatty will be just fine on this Mets team this coming year. And I'll go into a lineup later, as well as the rotation, and just go over stuff right before we end. But like I said earlier, this Mets team they still have a lot of moves to be made, whether it's rotation, getting one more big arm in that rotation, getting a bullpen arm, and getting one more bat. I don't know who the bat's going to be. I don't know who the rotation arm is going to be. People keep saying Skubal of the Tigers. I think the return, and I think there was a report recently saying that the return would have been way too much for Skubal. And if the return's going to be your entire farm system, I don't agree with getting Skubal. I think you can wait one more year, especially if he's going to be a rental. Because ultimately, he's going to be a Dodger. He's going to be a Dodger. So if anything, I would just let Skubal stay with the Tigers, unless the offer comes down a little bit. They were saying, obviously Brandon Sprout's gone, Jet Williams is gone, and I'm sad to see Jet Williams go, but I'm no prospect hugger. So the one time I'm a prospect hugger is right now with the Tariq Skubal rumors, where they're saying it could take Jonah Tong, it could take Jacob Reamer, I think his name is. It could take Carson Benj. I mean, that's our left fielder. I forgot to mention that's our left fielder for the year, Carson Benj. Totally forgot about Carson Benj. But it could take Carson Benj in a trade for Skubal, and as well as major league ready arms and major league players, such as Kodai Senga, such as David Peterson. I mean, that's a massive package for a 1-year rental that's going to go to the Dodgers anyway, So I think the Mets just stay strong with their rotation right now. And I would be happy. There are rumors also with a reunion with Chris Bassett. There are a reunion with Jose Quintana. Maybe like a number 4 or 5 arm. They're going to have a 7-man rotation though, which would be ridiculous. I'm not a big fan of the 6-man rotation. I'm not a big fan of that at all. And the rotation right now would be Peralta, McLean, who's going to be dominant. I love McLean. He's got filthy stuff. The addition of Peralta is awesome for the Mets. That was a must-have player right there. And I knew it was going to happen with Peralta. I knew it. I knew it was going to happen this year. He wasn't relatively expensive. It could be, again, a 1-year rental. But Brandon Sprout, you saw him. He was okay in 2025 in the few starts that he had. I think 4 or 5 starts. He was not great. He wasn't McLean, and Jonah Tong certainly is not ready for the Major League Baseball. He's certainly not ready. Not even close. That kid needs to sit in AAA for the rest of the year, and you only call him up if you need him badly, like last year. But I think calling him up, it was very premature of calling Jonah Tong up. He's not ready at all. And I would be okay with trading him as well for Tariq Skubal. But the package for Skubal is heavy, man. It is heavy. I'm okay trading away Kodai Senga. I'm okay trading away David Peterson. But Carson Benj was involved in some of the talks, I heard. And then you really are out of a left fielder. Then you're going to have Brett Beatty be your left fielder? I don't think so. I like Carson Benj. Leave him in left. The Mets farm system is deep, so maybe they can get around trading, Reamer and Benj, and giving Tong and Peterson and Senga. But at that point, then you're giving up still a lot. You're giving up major league players, not only major league ready, but major league players that have been here for quite a while. But the rotation as it is right now, I don't think is okay. I don't think it's good. Peralta, ace, solid move. McLean, future ace, solid, good. After that, you got nothing. We got nothing. I mean, you can't really you're not scaring off the Dodgers with Sean Manaea anymore. In 2024, you're damn right you're scaring them off. You're damn right you're scaring them off. He was good in 2024. Not anymore. You're not scaring off anyone with Sean Manaea. 5 ERA, are you nuts? That's so scary, man. You're not scaring anyone off with Kodai Senga. Now, maybe Kodai Senga can have a bounce-back year, and I hope he does. And I hope David Peterson has a bounce-back year. And I hope Tyler McGill has a bounce-back year. But I don't think it's good enough still. I don't think it's good enough. Now, Kodai Senga, let me get into Senga a little bit. We still got a lot of time. 30 minutes. So let me get into Senga. Pete Alonso killed Senga last year. He killed him. And you know what? Now that I think about it, I'm happy Alonso's gone because he can't even toss the ball over to first base. He killed not only Senga, he killed the year. He killed the entire season. Senga goes down, the year's over. The Mets go on like a 10-game losing streak after that. So I'm glad Alonso's gone. He can't throw the ball over. Ship him out of here. Senga's going to be healthy now, hopefully. The guy's made of glass, so he'll probably hurt his calf again. But hopefully not. Knock on wood. But the guy's made of glass. But we'll see. He's going to be healthy this year. He was great in 23 and hurt in 24. Came back for that one game in Philadelphia and got shelled. And then started 25. He was an ace again. He was very good in 25 and then Alonso. So hopefully he stays healthy this year. They take it easy with him. Hopefully Polanco and Beatty know how to throw the ball over to first. Because we need Senga. He's very valuable to this team. He's not an ace. He's not number 2. He's not really number 3 anymore, like he was in 23 when they had Scherzer, Verlander, Senga. That was a killer rotation that got us absolutely nowhere. Ultimately, it got us Luis Robert and Tyler Rogers, who's now a Cub. But Senga's a number 4 guy. So that he's your number 4. We'll say David Peterson's your number 3. We'll say Sean Manaea is your number 5. And your number 6 would be Tyler McGill. That's bad, man. That's really bad. You need one more arm at least. You need one more big arm at least. And I'm okay with signing Chris Bassett. He was okay. And he was good in 23, but couldn't get the Braves out. He couldn't get the Padres out. He stunk when it mattered most. But I would be okay with signing him again. I'd be okay with Quintana. He's very good. He was good in 24 for us. So ultimately, this team still has a lot of moves to make, rotation-wise. The rotation I don't think is set. And I don't think Stearns is okay with it either. I think Stearns ultimately, I don't think he's going to get Scooble. But I don't think he's sitting on his hands saying, "All right, we're spring training ready. This is our spring training team." Because Stearns is smart. He's smarter than we think he is. I mean, the kid went to an Ivy League school. He's way smarter than we think he is. I mean, he did Bo Bichette, Luis Robert in the matter of a day. So I think we're not giving him enough credit. I think he's very, very good at his job, and we just got to give him time. I mean, it's year 3. He's going into his 3rd year. We got to give him time to build it his way. He got rid of all the players that he didn't bring in. Alonso, gone. Diaz, gone. Nimmo, gone. McNeil, gone. And I'm shocked, to be honest with you. I'm shocked Lindor's not gone. It got to a point this offseason where we were shipping off everyone. Alonso's gone, Diaz is gone, Nimmo's gone, McNeil's gone. And I'm thinking to myself, you know what? Might as well just get rid of everyone and start fresh. Just rebuild the team. You might as well just rebuild. Get rid of Lindor. Bring in someone a little bit younger, a little bit better. And it's hard to get better from Lindor because he's still elite. But his defense slipped in 25. And that's worrisome. If his defense is slipping now in 26, then you've got a big problem on your hands. Because then you're thinking, well, do we make him a DH for the last 6 years of his contract or however long he has? Then what happens with Soto? You know, because in 5 years, he's going to be a DH or first base. He might be first base. Still a lot of question marks with this Mets team. A lot of question marks. But it's getting a lot better. And it looks a lot more respectable now than it did 2 weeks ago. Or 3 weeks ago. It looks a lot better. And you know what? I'm excited to go to Met games now. It also got to a point where I was like, you know what? Trade Lindor, and I'll see you guys in 2028 because there's not going to be a season 2027. We'll get to that 2027 lockout in the next episode next week. Because there's not going to be a 2027 season. There won't be. There won't be. It's so this league is screwed. It's screwed. So we'll see you guys in 2028 for sure. So going into this lineup and how it's going to look. You have Lindor leading off, obviously, and Mendoza gave us a little hint of what it's going to look like. Yesterday, a report came out saying that Lindor, Soto, and Bichette will be probably what we're looking at right out the gate. And I agree, 100%. So Lindor at short. You'll have Soto in right. And you'll have Bichette at third. And I'm okay with this. This is a very good 1-2-3 combo. Let's say the Mets finally make the playoffs and they make it comfortably. Not the last game of the season. I mean, 2 years in a row, we're waiting for this final out saying, hey, are we going to make the playoffs or not? And losing to the Reds is unacceptable. And I think Stearns knows that. And he knew that. And he said, you know what? I can't run it back with this team next year. And he said that himself. He said, we're not going to run it back next year with this same team. We have no choice but to break it up. This team for 7 years did nothing. Alonso did nothing. Diaz did nothing. Nimmo did nothing. McNeil did nothing. It's time to break it up. Now, here's the question. Here's where it gets interesting. Because like I said earlier, last year you had 1, 2, 3, 4 set in Lindor, Soto, Alonso, Nimmo. Now you only have 1, 2, 3 set. Now what do? Do you do Polanco? I'll give Polanco a shot at first at the number 4 hole at the cleanup spot. Then I'll give Simeon the go at second, trying to break up the righties a little bit as well with the switch hitter Polanco. So right now we have a switch hitter, a lefty, a righty, a switch, a righty. Then I'll do Beatty. I'll give Beatty a shot at DH. So there's your lefty. Then I would do Robert in center field. And now do I do Alvarez in the 8th spot or Benj in the 8th spot? And I think I'm going to keep up the work with the lefty-righty matchups, splitting them up. So I'm going to go Benj in left field. And then Alvarez, who needs to wake up and be an actual baseball player this 2026 season. He has no choice but to be back to his 2024 form. He has no choice. So looking at this lineup now, is it better than last year? I think so. Defensively, 100%, it is better. And you're looking at the bench now. We'll say we have 4 bench bats. So you have Vientos, you have Taylor, Tyrone Taylor, you have Mauricio, who's good, and then Terrence, the backup catcher. That's an okay bench. Nothing to write home about. I think ultimately you trade Vientos, though. You got to trade Vientos. Taylor is untouchable, and I don't think you trade Mauricio. I wouldn't trade Mauricio. He's a good switch hitter off the bench. I wouldn't start him at all, but off the bench late in games, I would give him a shot. And Terrence is a solid catcher, backup catcher. He's solid. So looking at this lineup, Lindor short, Soto right, Bichette third, Polanco first, Simeon second, Beatty DH, Robert center, Benjamin left, Alvarez catching. That's okay. I would love another bat, but I don't think we're going to get one because I would love a big-time DH. I want to finally have a DH. Our last real DH was JD Martinez, who ultimately did not really do well. I mean, he was fine, but he wasn't a real DH power bat. And that's, I think, what Stearns also wanted from Alonso. And there was a report recently that I saw as well that said if Alonso were to come back, the Mets were offering him a short-term deal, 3 years, 4 years, high AAV, but he was going to be the DH. So I think ultimately it would have been Beatty at first. Ultimately, I think it would have been Beatty at first, or Vientos at first, or even Polanco. I mean, you could still sign Polanco for first and then split time with Alonso. I think I would have been very okay with that, more than okay. That would have given this lineup a real boost. If you had Lindor, Soto, Bichette, Alonso in your top 4, that's way better than last year. Way better. And then your 5 spot, you have Polanco, Simeon, Robert, Benj, Alvarez. That's way better. But not to keep beating the dead horse with Alonso, this team looks okay right now, lineup-wise. Rotation-wise, we have an issue, like I mentioned before. We only have 2 arms that I trust. And even then, can we really rely on McLean? He only had 8 starts, but it was DeGrom-level starts. Every start was DeGrom level. Peralta is going to be your opening day starter, I think. Personally, if I'm Mendoza, I think I would give McLean the ball. But I think to start off the year, I mean, you are playing the Pirates. You are playing against Skeens, the best pitcher in baseball, in my opinion. I think it's going to be Peralta. He's a veteran. He knows how to pitch on opening day. McLean doesn't. I mean, not that opening day is a big deal. It is, but it's not a World Series start, not a playoff game. Just opening day. And I believe it's at Citi Field. I just double check on that. I believe it's at Citi Field. Mets opening day. Why am I not getting it? All right. Never mind. It's taking too long to see that. So I believe it's on open. It's at Citi Field, though. I believe so. So you have Peralta, you have McLean, and then you give it to Peterson. You also have Clay Holmes. I totally forgot about. So you have a 6-man rotation. I would put McGill when he's back. I think he's back by opening day. He should be. I think you put McGill in the bullpen. But personally, what I would do is keep it a 5-man rotation and put these extra starters in the bullpen. Put Senga in the bullpen. Put Holmes in the bullpen. Put Manaea back in the bullpen. Or not back in the bullpen, but put him in the bullpen. Put Holmes back in the bullpen. Put McGill back in the bullpen. And I would do Peralta, McLean, Peterson, but they're not going to do that. So this is what a realistic rotation would look like. Peralta, McLean, Peterson, Holmes, Manaea, Senga. I think that's going to be the 6-man rotation going into 2026. Now listen, you're banking on a lot of guys. You're banking on half of this rotation to have bounce back years. Going into a year where you have to make the playoffs. You have no choice but to make the playoffs this year. Peralta, ace. You know what you're getting out of him. McLean, you're also banking on McLean to have a good year as well. You don't really know what you're getting out of McLean yet. He had 1 solid year with 8 starts. You don't know what's going to happen in the second year. Maybe, hitters learn McLean stuff and they adjust, and we got to see if he adjusts. What made DeGrom so good, and not to reminisce always, but, I've been reminiscing all day with Alonso and Diaz and Nimmo and now DeGrom, but what made DeGrom so good, because I compared McLean to DeGrom earlier, is he adjusted so well to hitters' adjustments. He would adjust mid-game. He would adjust mid-at-bat to what the hitter is recognizing. And that's why DeGrom was dominant for 5 years. Then he got hurt. but he was dominant. He was the best pitcher in baseball for 5 years, from 2017 to 2021. 4 years, 5 years. Dominant. I'll even give him 22. He was hurt for that year as well, but when he got back, he was very good in that playoff game against Padres. But right now, I rate this team maybe an 86 win team, 87 win team, barring no injuries on paper. It's a decent team, a decent team. So, with that being said, I mean, I think Stearns is ultimately done though. I wouldn't be done. I would add one more bat, like I said, and another pitcher. And I think they're going to add one more pitcher. I think Stearns is going to add one more pitcher. I don't think it's going to be Skubal, but it might be Bassett. It might be Quintana. And I'd be okay with that. Those are still solid veteran guys. Moving on to the Yankees. And this is where we're going to end our last 15-minute segment on the Yankees and what they need to be doing. Because the Yankees have made one move this offseason that I like. And the one offseason that they've made is the re-signing of Cody Bellinger, a move that needed to be done. A move that, if not done, the Yankees forget about it. No pun intended, Michael K. The Yankees have made one move all offseason. Now, do I think they're still going to make the playoffs? Yeah. I mean, they could have not re-signed Cody Bellinger and still would have won 94 games. They would have found a way. They're the evil empire for a reason. Although the Dodgers are now the new evil empire. But they're the evil. They're known for the evil empire for a reason. They could trade Judge and they'll make the playoffs. They always find a way. But the one acquisition made this year is Cody Bellinger. And you could say Trent Grisham as well. But that's it. They signed Bednar, and that's it. They're just re-signing guys. So, you know what? They're running it back. And let them. They made the ALDS last year. They got absolutely wiped away by the Toronto Blue Jays, but they made the playoffs. They made it deep, or deeper than the Mets did. And the Mets aren't running it back. But the Yankees are. And I think the Yankees can. They're allowed to run it back because they make the playoffs every year. The last time they didn't was 2023 when injuries plagued them and Judge was out for like the whole year and Stanton was hurt. And they weren't that good in 23, but now they are. 24 they make the playoffs. They trade for Soto. And you know, still Yankee fans are still talking about Soto. It's wild. That boggles my mind, man. That boggles my mind. He was a 1-year rental, and you guys are thinking like, yo, you know, you had Mickey Mantle. Give me a break. You had a 1-year rental. The re-signing of Cody Bellinger, and you see Yankee fans laughing at the Mets, saying, "Oh, you missed out on Cody Bellinger. You needed him. If you didn't sign Cody Bellinger, you'd be screwed. You'd be absolutely screwed if you didn't sign Cody Bellinger. Re-sign Cody Bellinger." And ultimately, I think it was between the Mets and the Yankees. And he probably looked at the offers. And I don't think it was ever reported what the Mets offered Cody. But I would assume it would be 4 years, $126 million for 4 years with an opt-out after the first year, second year. I would assume so. But I think Cody thought to himself and he said, look, my dad played here. I had a good 25 season. And I'm gonna continue my dad's legacy with the New York Yankees. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay. I really wanted him. And I think Stearns ultimately wanted him too. I mean, there were talks with Cody Bellinger all year long, all offseason, until he signed, until the last second. There was talks about the Mets signing Cody Bellinger all offseason. And I think that would have made the Mets a very good team, a lot better than they are now. If you throw Cody Bellinger now, again, he's not a power hitter anymore. He's more of a slap guy, but it fit the Mets lineup. It fits the Yankees lineup a lot more simply due to the fact that they have no one else. Let's say you don't sign Cody Bellinger for the Yankees. Let's say you don't sign Cody Bellinger. You're throwing out Jason Dominguez in left. You've got Trent Grisham in center, which is a joke of a re-signing, and then the Yankees messed that up completely. You talk about the Mets messing up Diaz. They messed up Grisham just for a compensation pick. That was a joke by Cashman. A complete incompetent move. You try to get cute. You try to play around for a compensation pick. And you know what? You end up screwing yourselves because now you're stuck with Trent Grisham for another year at $22 million. You have Judge and Wright. That's your outfield. Decent outfield. Good defensively, I think. I mean, Dominguez isn't all that, but he's, okay. He learned the position as the year went on. Trent Grisham, he had a great offensive year and then just disappeared in the playoffs. It became an 8-man lineup instead of a 9-man. Moving into the infield now, McMahon, you trust McMahon at third. Defensively, he's a defensive whiz. Offensively, he's gone. I mean, he's at 200. And that's like this whole Yankees lineup. Outside of Judge, it's a bunch of 200 hitters. Grisham, Dominguez. I mean, you look at the catcher. Is he going to be good again? I know he disappeared in the playoffs. I mean, everyone disappeared in the playoffs. The one player that didn't disappear in the playoffs these last 2 years was Stanton. Stanton didn't disappear. Judge had a decent 25. So the Yankees still have a mess on their hands, but I think they'll ultimately be okay. I think they'll be okay. They'll still win 94 games. So that's pretty much it, man. That's pretty much it for episode 1. I think that the Mets, as they stand right now, are in way better position than they were 3 weeks ago, obviously. And the Yankees still need to make moves for rotation arms. As the rotation stands, they have Garrett Cole coming back. I mean, half their rotation's coming back in August, July, August. Cole's not, I don't think, going to be ready for opening day. Schmidt's not going to be ready. They have Luis Hill. They have Fried, obviously. You've got the new kid, Schlittler. I think he's going to be really good, man. I think he's going to be really good. Him and McLean are going to be the new Garrett Cole DeGrom conversation, I think. Those two are going to be very good. But we'll see. We'll ultimately see how this year plays out. It might be the last year of MLB baseball. MLB baseball, I just said. It might be the last year of Major League Baseball. It might be the last year. Because 2027, and we'll bring it up in the next podcast episode, there might not be a 27. So you got to get it. You got to get in the playoffs now. Yankees, Mets. Now's the time to strike. Now's the time to bulk up. You're not beating the Dodgers. I think the Dodgers are going to three-peat, to be honest with you. Signing Tucker. They sign everyone. And everyone wants to go there because of the weather. It just fits their wants way more than cold New York City, where we just got a foot of snow and we're about to get another 3 inches on Sunday. So, with that being said, in the next episode, we'll talk about the lockout and what needs to be done in this league, because there's a lot of trouble within this league. So, with that being said, I'm your host, Eric Mincin of The Mincin Show, and I'll see you guys next Wednesday 12:30 p.m.